Mount Vernon was George Washington's home. He inherited it in the 1750s after his father and his older brother Lawrence died. And really, yeah, this is what it would have looked like in 1799, which was the year of Washington's death. And so I can show you just some of the parts of it. And so most of these are actually based on real people. George Washington himself and his secretary, Tobias Lear, his butler, and also valet William Lee, who accompanied him during the Revolutionary War, and William's brother Frank Lee. Little things we have here, like the sundial in the middle, which is still there, and yes, the sundial still works. And you got some of the lanterns, and so some of the buildings. We got the main mansion, obviously, the servants' hall, which was used for visiting servants. We had the gardener's house, and the kitchen, and the supply room, or supply building. And so, yeah, most of these, on any given day, you had 10 to 20 of Washington's family and friends, but you also had over 300 enslaved persons. And so, as I started adding more detail and more people, definitely wanted to include them as part of the story. And so, yeah, there's a lot of great research out there you can find about the individuals themselves, especially the slaves themselves. And so, yeah, I'd like to show you the backside as well, too. And so, Washington's office, which includes a fan chair that he had, a lot of original or period pieces. Christopher Shields, who was his enslaved valet. Martha Washington, and yes, she was 4'11", she was fairly short. Oni Judge, who was her lady's maid. And let's see, get this right, Caroline Branham, let's see, Charlotte, and I believe, who was the other? Yep. I can't remember, and one of the other seamstresses. But yeah, so the whole house was originally built in the 1730s, and this is what it looked like in 1799, and when he had passed away. So yeah. So
is this much what it looks like today as well if you visit?
Yes, very much so. They've really done a great job of keeping it just like the period, and they specifically try to keep it at 1799, what it would have looked like at the time. And so, yeah.
So as you were working on this, what kind of blueprints or photos and that sort of thing did you have to base it off of?
Well, several books have some, and also I live about 5 miles away, and we go there to visit pretty frequently. So honestly, about once a month or so, be there for various events or functions, and every time I go, I see some more detail, like actually some of the more recent ones, like these lightning rods, which were suggested by Benjamin Franklin. He recommended that. The lumber rooms, which are not open to the public, but those would have been used to store lumber. Some of the more recent things, let's see, down in the cellar, down here, I think we have some wine casks over on the side. Oh, and of course, the key to the Bastille, which was given as a gift by the Marquis de Lafayette after the French Revolution, given to George Washington, and it hangs there in the hall to this day. And so, yeah, just honestly, physically going there, seeing the details, and adding them as we go. It's been fun.
Yeah, so it's really. What about some of these other side buildings? I know you've got some interiors.
Sure. So yeah, so over this was a supply building used by the overseer. They would issue out farm tools, and so that's why we have on this side people picking up a lot of their tools and heading off to work, kind of the beginning of the day. Beneath it, that was a paint cellar. It's not open to the public today, but I did find a picture of what it looked like, and so that's about what it would look like. The kitchen over here, where they would prepare the meals throughout the day. Doll was her name. She was one of the cooks. Hercules was the main cook for most of his life. They would also store food here in the larder, and usually Doll and their families would often live right above the kitchen. It was be an early day. They'd be up at the crack of dawn, maybe 5 in the morning, working to prepare the meals throughout the day. So yeah, and let's see. It's and over on the other side, you can't really see it well from here, but this was where the visiting servants, from their guests, where they would often stay. There was a smaller kitchen/dining room in the bottom, and the gardener, that would be his house where he would keep his tools and where he would live as well. So, and also the stone roller. So they have this in the museum at Mount Vernon. It's a very large round block of stone that they would roll, and it's being used there by William Lee to smooth out the path and keep it nice and even. Similarly, his brother's over here cutting the grass. Normally, the grass back then would be used for grazing animals. The carriage circle, however, was very decorative, so they wouldn't have animals grazing it. and so they had to cut it by hand with scythes. And so, yeah.
You got the nice kind of stagecoach there as well.
Yeah, and that's based on, the carriage there is based on one that they have at Mount Vernon. It's in the stables, which would sort of be over here, and I just wanted to park that one in the front. And so, yeah.
Well, impressive work. I think this is a very iconic building, and obviously, not too far from where BrickFair is held here, so I'm glad you were able to bring this out to the show. Thank you.